So Isaiah invites us to respond in three ways. The first is to acknowledge the depth of our sin. And this one's a tough one. See, Isaiah says we are all like sheep have gone astray. So the gospel begins with honesty, not minimizing sin. We should recognize that we have turned from God and we have turned away from each other in horrific ways. And so the first step is acknowledge the depth of our sin. All our righteousness, it says, are like filthy rags. Step two is acknowledge the depth of God's mercy in light of that sin. Right? Jesus tells a parable about this, right? About the two people that are forgiven a debt. One's forgiven, let's say, $50, the other one's $50,000. And he says, well, which one will love more? Well, the one who was forgiven $50,000. I think the problem for the church is that we think we have $50 debt. And it's actually 50 trillion or more. And that's the best of us. So we don't appreciate God's grace, the depth of his mercy in light of our sin, because we don't understand our sin. God did not abandon us to our sin, thankfully. What does it say in Isaiah? He laid on him the iniquity of us all. Justice was satisfied and mercy was extended. Jesus didn't just live as a good example, but he died a gruesome death in my place, in your place. Which leads us to the third. Acknowledge Jesus as the means of God's mercy. Right? A lot of people say, well, how does God judge me? Because there's this huge chasm between him and me, and the Bible's clear. I can't bridge that chasm. And I would say, well, on one hand, you're right. But what he does judge you about is that he built the bridge. It's right next to you. Jesus is that bridge of God's mercy. There's only one Redeemer, only one mediator who bore the penalty of our sin. Jesus, who is the Christ, the anointed one, our Messiah. The gospel is not about becoming a better person. It may be the result, but it's not the point. The gospel is about trusting the Savior who carried your sin. Remember, the question we began with, is there any way to escape punishment? The answer of the gospel is yes, emphatically yes. Justice doesn't disappear, but God himself satisfies it. The servant was pierced. The servant was crushed. The servant carried the sin of us all. And because of him, mercy is possible. So the invitation of the gospel is simple. Come to the Redeemer, who is Jesus. Trust the servant, who is Jesus. Receive the mercy of God through Jesus.